The gentle downward pressure from my right foot brought the dirty, dented, nearly white 3.5-ton box van to a halt, not quite as quickly as it should because the brakes felt shot. From the outside, I was just another run-of-the-mill vehicle joining the long line of red lights stretching into the distance, giving the bright impression of a gaudy and particularly unimaginative Christmas tree. The odd flash of orange occasionally breaking up the dull, uninspiring palette. A sudden expletive slipped out of my mouth and addressed to no one and everyone. It was more of a question as to what was the latest delay in the journey. It seemed to be more serious than anything earlier, a fact emphasised by the lack of headlights coming in the opposite direction. A complete lack of illumination except for the emerging sodium glow of the gantry lights. An artificial radiance just commencing in its latest attempt to hold back the encroaching darkness, a counterpoint to the sun as it slipped away on the early autumn evening. The instructions had been clear and drummed in repeatedly. If I was even a minute delayed, then I would have a catastrophe on my hands. That's if I still had hands. There was a feeling that I know is my blood pressure, slowly rising, and that a soon clammy and unwelcome perspiration would make a fresh appearance on my brow. In hindsight, which is a luxury I appear to be able to indulge in with abundance as I sit in this traffic, then I should have tried to run, to try and get my sorry backside out of this. Had this been a normal job, then it might have been possible, but the incentive that had been put in front of me was something that could not be ignored. If I'm honest, which is another thing I seem to have plenty and yet no time for, then the people offering the incentive had me trapped. Focus, man, get a grip. I will be no good to anyone if I lose control of myself now. Something I'd been repeating as a mantra for most of the journey. A refrain that had I trotted out every time there was only a minimal delay, and now it would look like the fates that clearly weren't listening had thrown up a far more consequential one. If there was no oncoming traffic, then the motorway was shut, either for the air ambulance or because the problem was in both carriageways, and this was more than significant. This could be devastating. The orders I had been given were simple. All I had to do was follow the sat-nav, get there by 6 and not look in the back as this does not concern you. The little screen of the sat-nav was now mocking me, as it showed the flashing arrow on the display in the middle of the motorway, the unemotional voice telling me, "Caution, possibly stational traffic." It was not even ironic in tone. No, it was practically being bloody annoying. I don't want to risk fiddling with the blasted thing to get rid of the voice, though, because I had a fear that I might lose the address detail, and that would be another nail in my metaphorical coffin. The consequences are not even worth thinking about, although looking outside it may be that I would indeed have time for that now, along with hindsight and honesty. Not that thinking was my strong suit, as Lizzie would attest, and it was that lack of thinking, going back over the years, that had led me to be sitting in a van with a load of God knows what, and a far from idle threat underpinning the whole shebang. It would appear that I have nothing more time-consuming to do for a while than to apply what I have to try and pass off as intelligence to it all. The vehicles on either side of me were moving occasionally, but only in little bursts. This was not a case of the normal brightly coloured flash in the outside lane, or the grumbling trundle of the wagons on the inside ones. This was more a metallic sludge rolling alongside like a galvanised painted slug, or the drivers trying to establish some sort of slow-moving pecking order. The only differentiator was the number of pairs of eyes that I caught sight of as they passed me or as I rolled past them. Every vehicle was now compelled to join the nearest strand of red jewels like a mocking demonic necklace, laid out across the motorway ahead in front of us all. Every one of the occupants was intent on their own cocooned lives, apart from when it was broken only briefly by that slight flicker when they saw me.